check out my movie of the week. It's Halloween's Strange Phone Calls. So I want you all to check it out. It's called When a Stranger Calls. It's a 1979 horror flick, so please check it out. It's posted to my community page, and it's also free on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. This is a two-part live. We're going to talk about David, and we're going to talk about Brittney GARD, the Indiana mom who went missing and was found and haven't heard anything about her health or mental state. We're going to chop all that up. First, we're going to talk about David. So far, no suspect has been named in the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. As most of you know, her body has been laid to rest, which remains were recovered from the Tesla. Trying to gather my thoughts. Why did he put two homes in his mom's name? He put two homes in a trust in Texas. Let me clarify that, Texas. Two Texas homes. Why did he put them in his mom's name? I find that interesting. And they didn't mention father because I'm married. So why not both of their names? Very interesting information. Is this a sign of guilt? I'll put that in a poll on my community page after this live stream. Is this a sign of guilt? He's liquidating, putting things in other people's names, family name, because he senses that there will possibly be a lawsuit down the road, such as a civil suit. Let's say he's never arrested. Is this why he's getting rid of things? Is he going to start hiding money, putting money overseas? Because many people do that. They hide money, especially people who are wealthy and they're going through divorces. Specifically men, they are known to hide their monies, put them in overseas accounts. Will we later find out he's taking money and moving it around, putting it in, father, mother name? Because I won't doubt that that's possibly going to happen as well. If he's already put two homes in a trust in his mom's name, he'll possibly do the same with his money. Take some of his money, most of his money, and hide it overseas. He'll get a lawyer to direct him in how to hide the money, because most people don't know how to do that. Somebody would have to instruct you. But hey, we're on YouTube. You might be able to pull up a YouTube video, and there's a video that'll tell you how to hide your money and take your money and put it in overseas banks. Most people, I think, probably put them in the island. Certain islands, they put their money in banks, and they can't be touched, can't be found. Will that? I would say yes. We've heard that since the finding of this young girl in his trunk, he's gotten a lot of views of his music, Spotify, and different streaming apps. So he's become a household name, as most of you know, but not in a good way. Some of you may believe that he's been set up. He put it to print. His thought process, which is doom and gloom, death and mayhem, he decided to put it to print. So, hey, I'm thinking about these things. I've got this evil alter ego. He's possessed me to go out here and murder this girl. I hide her body in my Tesla like a dummy. End of story. Hello, Patricia. How are you? Patricia, who are you speaking to? Who are you speaking to, Patricia? Anywho, that's the latest. That's the latest on David. He's put two Texas homes in his mom's name, which I find very interesting because the mother is married to his father, from my understanding. And also, I meant to put also in the title that 911 call of the house being swatted in Texas has been. Law enforcement went out to his parents' home on September 18th, and there was no woman screaming. There was no woman found, no man found, no artillery found, no home break-in, no nothing. And a lot of people might be speculating on that as well, the 911 call, who made the call. And the interesting thing about that call is that when you call 911, if you have your settings on to your location, it pings your actual address. So in that video, you hear law enforcement telling David's family that the call pinged to their address. Now, I'm not tech savvy in certain things, dealing with the computer, but I think you can just type it in, because I remember such and such lane, and use that as your 911 verification. So did a person do that? Did a person go into their own phone, put in their address before making that SWAT call? I think that's that. And my thing is, why do that? I do not agree with that. Whether you think David is guilty or not, you don't go involve other people in your assumptions of who you think the murderer or killer, or if there's even a murder. You don't do that, because for all we know, these people have no knowledge of what was going on in LA. They probably heard that the girl was found in the trunk of their son's car, but I doubt that he went and confessed to his family that he's the killer and what happened between them. I mean, we have people who do this, but I doubt that they had any knowledge of anything going on between he and Celeste. And I've also asked you all that question. Did they have knowledge? Did he ever take her out there to Texas? Did he ever introduce her to them? Did he ever mention he was dating a girl, woman, whomever, by the name of Celeste? Take those polls on my community page. I put those up maybe 2 weeks or so ago. So just scroll back 2 weeks and take the polls. Did he tell his family that he was dating someone by the name of Celeste? And then we hear that there's another Celeste, a Celeste Herrera, that may have had some dealings with David. I don't know who she is or anything about her, but her name has been mentioned. And I think she's the one who was in one of the videos at his concert where people assumed it was Celeste Rivas, but it was not Celeste Rivas. That's been verified by TNC. That was another Celeste. The plot thickens with this nonsense. We go from a girl found in a trunk of an upcoming singer. He's not spoken publicly. He also has hired a lawyer, a Blair Burke, B-E-R-K. I also find it interesting, his last name is Burke, B-U-R-K-E. Some weird stuff going on here. So we've got a lawyer hired, moving homes into a trust in his mom's name, never speaking publicly about the girl, knowing the girl, dating the girl. He has said nothing. Manager speaking out, he has no knowledge of David and the girl. We see a red Tesla leaving the home, guy masked up. Then he says, oh, it belongs to another management team. Just a lot of, to me, he said, she said, shuffling around of information with really no verification of nothing that's being said, because we don't really know that what the manager has said is true. And as some people are saying, you don't speak publicly about David and Celeste. You go comment under a damn tick me, you would make a public statement to say, knowledge of he and she dating. I never met the girl. I don't know anything about her. All this crazy nonsense about, oh, my family is struggling and going through this and that. I found that statement odd. Why would your family be struggling with the death of Celeste and they didn't know her? Sounds like a narcissist to me. Oh, this has devastated my family. But he don't say that he was devastated. Stay woke. Always listen to the commentary. My family is struggling. So what is your family actually struggling with? The gossip that you possibly know something? Because you don't say that you're devastated. You say, oh, my family is struggling. I found that statement odd. And I still find it odd that David hasn't spoken, but some experts might say, well, Now let's go to Indiana. BRITNEY GARD, mother of two, was supposed to be going to one of her children's soccer games, but she did not show up. Her house caught on fire. Suspicious circumstances, naturally. No one was found in the home. No one was deceased in the home, but the house was on fire. She was missing after this fire was discovered, and later found in a nature preserve 2.5 miles from her home. The commentary is that she turned her phone on and called 911. Do you believe this is a hoax perfected by Miss GARD? Are we looking at a duplicate Sherry Papini? Because this is looking more, to me, in my opinion, another repeat of Sherry Papini making up the file, blah, blah, blah. And we later found out that never happened. Then when she gets her sentencing from the judge, she then changes it again to say, tell the news, oh, I did tell the truth. I was kidnapped, because she realizes the fallout from lying. Judge gave custody of her kids to the husband. She has limited visitation. She was scrutinized by the media, the public, probably friends, family, so on. And she realizes, I don't have any support from anyone because I lied. And to me, this is a sign of a very sick and ill person. Anytime you deal with a liar, period, you're dealing with a very dangerous person. I've always said this about a pathological liar. To me, a liar is more dangerous than a thief. You know, a person steals, okay, the cat's out of the bag. But a liar can disguise himself or herself for years. And I think many of you know what I mean. You could be laying beside a liar and don't even know it, such as a man or woman who's had multiple affairs. They've committed fraud and you don't know anything about it. Hello, Black Beauty, how are you? And you're sitting here dumbfounded. You look up one day, you start getting bank statements and you're wondering why the mortgage hasn't been paid. You've got a crazy person calling your phone saying, hey, I'm sleeping with your husband or I'm messing around with your wife. And you're looking around like, okay, who the hell is this? How'd you get my phone number? You see what I'm saying? You might find out your husband's married to other women. He's never divorced the woman that he said he was divorced from. He might have been a suspect in a homicide pertaining to a woman or a wife, but he never told you. That's what I'm talking about. The 911 call, law enforcement came to her rescue, but it was all a farce, a ruse, a faux crime, a faux situation rather. So take the poll on my community page. I put it up before I went live today. Do you believe BRITNEY GARD set her house on fire and went into the preserve deliberately, dialed 911 to be allegedly rescued? I don't think this lady is truthful. I think she has committed a crime by setting the house on fire, by pretending to be in the woods, don't know how she got there. Because the one thing people forget when they are committing crimes, there's always an eye in the sky. You have to change the locations on your phone. You have to turn it off. You have to beware of CCTV footage, cameras on homes, businesses, even in the wilderness. People have what they call trail cameras on trees. You don't really know where a camera's going to be. And you can best believe this woman did not think this crime out, because she had to get from her home to the preserve. And that's a good question there. What happened to the house? Who set the fire? How did she get from her home or her last location, don't know where that was, to the preserve? Because I doubt she walked from her house to the preserve. 2.5 miles, that's a nice walk. That's a very nice walk. And I doubt that she walked. So we need to figure out, if you're interested in the story, how Miss GARD got from her home or her last location to that nature preserve. Why is it she turned her phone on after, 7 to 8 days or so in the preserve, allegedly? Because this is where this sounds like a fake crime. If she had her phone all the time while in the preserve, why so many days went by and she miraculously turns the phone on to say, oh, I'm in this place. I don't know how I got here, excuse me. Please help, send somebody, because this looks fake to me. You've been in a preserve for 7 or 8 days. How did you survive without water or food? So I woke everybody. You had no food, no water, no cover. Indiana gets cold. in the evenings, okay? Well, let's say a little bit chilly because it's still warm in some places. So then you got to factor that in. The weather. What was the weather like for those set amount of days? I'm going to go back to food and water again. By day 3, hallucinating without food or water. And naturally, there have been people who have been discovered in certain places, in mines and the wilderness, and they've been alive. They were alive for several days and they survived without food and water. But let's just hypothetically say your body starts to shut down after day 3 or 4 of having no food and no water. So how is it you had no food, no water, access to a phone? I'm supposed to believe for 7 to 8 days. She was conked out, knocked out, in a deep coma, woke up, realized she was somewhere she didn't know how she got there, checked her persons and said, oh, here's my phone, let me call my phone, and dialed 911. And let's think about that too with the cell phone business. If her phone was on when she got to the preserve, I think we both know it would be dead by day 7 or 8. It'd probably be dead by day 1, day 2. Because the cells deplete depending on what type of phone you have, device you have. And I don't know that a phone would last that many days turned on, because the cells, even my devices, iPads, whatever, I don't even have to use them. But at some point, as it sits, it depletes itself with the cells. I'm just saying. I don't see how the phone would still be active to make a phone call 7 to 8 days. And once again, no food or water. And I'm supposed to believe what? She was unconscious for 7 to 8 days. And then she woke up and realized she has a phone. And then she dials 911. The family says she was disoriented when they got to her. And I'm going to say this. Well, that's your perception, that she was disoriented. But I got a feeling that was all an act. I got a feeling she was somewhere else for those amount of days. And that means she possibly had help. So the other question is this before I check out of here. Where is her car? Number one, did she own a car? I'm going to assume she owned a car. She had plans to go see her child play soccer. So where is her car? Where was the car parked? Where was her car found? See, this is how you're going to get to the bottom of this story and to the truth. Where was her car found? Where was it found in proximity to the nature preserve? Was it parked in the driveway? Did anybody see her walking from the house? Will we see her walking from the house on someone's camera, home camera? Will you see her driving from this house while smoke is billowing out of the house or up in flames? Say, well, has she left a digital trail? Did she cut her phone off when she left the house? She possibly did. So the truth to this story is, where was the car found? Because she had to get to that nature preserve some type of way. And I'd like to hear if there are sidewalks from her home that lead to the nature preserve, or wherever she was, are there sidewalks that lead to the nature preserve? That's all I'm asking. That's my commentary. 2-part live, everybody. BRITNEY GARD found alive in Indiana in a nature preserve. Don't have an update to what happened to the home, how it caught fire, how she got in the preserve, how she was able to survive for 8 days. And then there's David, the singer. He has put 2 of his Texas homes in his mom's name. He also has hired a lawyer. He has not spoken about or given any type of commentary. And also the 911 call from the home in Texas being swatted, that has been released to the public. And as I said to you all before, I believe David got his ways from his parents because they seemed very cold when they shut the door in the officer's face, not wanting them to finish talking to them about why this SWAT call was made to their home. And I believe he gets his ways from his parents. I believe he was cooped up in his home and all he had was the TV and the internet, and that was his livelihood. I don't even know if they really taught him anything while they were schooling him, excuse me, get my words twisted. He said he was homeschooled. The internet was his life. That's all he knows. I think he became delusional. He got wrapped up in an alternate universe, this head of his, and all he thought about was doom and gloom, death, murder. And I believe he perfected that by murdering Celeste Rivas Hernandez. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I do believe he unalived that girl. They said she was dismembered. Then they took it back and said she wasn't. I don't know what's the truth of that. But the point is, she had been in that Tesla for a while. And that's the sad part of the story. That she was a young girl who had no business hanging around a late teen grown man. Family didn't seem to be too concerned because it seemed like to me she was going in and out of her home at will and nobody cared. And as most of you know, 2 videos have come to light to show she was at her home in June and September of 2024. So she was not missing the entire 1.5 years as the family claimed. And so far they have not spoken either about this young girl's demise. And I find that awfully strange that no one has come forward to give a public rendering of when they last saw her, wanting David to speak. That's been said, they want him to speak. Why not go to the news and give a formal news interview to tell us when you actually last saw her, what you knew about David, had you met him personally? Did you know exactly where he lived? Had you ever been to his house to retrieve your child? Because as it was reported, the police brought her back from LA to her home. But we have never heard where law enforcement picked her up, which I find very strange. You picked her up where in LA? Off the side of the street, a park, a store, where? It's going to be very interesting if it comes out that they knew all along where she was in LA. They had his address. Because just like somebody found his parents' home to SWAT, somebody could have found out where he was living. Because I would assume he had mail going to that Hollywood Hills home. And although it was rented by his manager, he still probably had something in his name going to that house, such as Amazon packages, UPS packages, some type of mail with his government name. And it's going to be disturbing to find out they knew she was dating an older person and knew where to find her. And as I said before, had they put her in juvenile detention or had the state get involved in taking custody of her, she would possibly be alive today. But we will never know, because obviously her family didn't care enough to try to find alternate housing for her because she kept running away. No way I would let my child keep going in and out of my home at the age of 13, 14, just running away. No, I would not have allowed that. I would have had to take measures to get her in a safe environment where she could not run away. That's my commentary. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below this video. We'll take the poll on my community page pertaining to David and this Miss BRITNEY GARD. Do you think BRITNEY GARD perfected a hoax? She set the house on fire, went missing deliberately. What do you think about David putting his Texas homes in his mom's name? Also, follow me on the Newsbreak app. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $Big Angie 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Talk to you guys later. Movie of the week, When a Stranger Calls. There's also a remake of this movie. I believe it was made in 2007. And it's about the same premise of the babysitter taking care of 2 kids in the home, and a stranger keeps calling and calling and calling. And then you later find out he's in the vicinity of a home. Check it out. Check out the 1979 movie and also check out the remake. And I'll share that one as well in case you want to watch both of them. Thank you for your time. You've been listening to The Vaughn Excel. Talk to you guys later. Bye.